But yeah, let's start it. So I mean, here we go. Chapter 134 of Shingeki no Kyojin. Um, I was a little underwhelmed with this chapter. Just for the fact that this was, like this is the final battle of Attack on Titan that we're ever gonna see. And this is a series that's known for its hype, its grandeur, in a sense. And we've known that the author has had this series in mind for like 10 years, have had this ending in mind for 10 years. And so the way it kind of started, again, I was just a little overwhelmed. Maybe I, set up my expectations a little too high for Isayama. Um, but yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, I do believe in his writing ability, and I'm sure he will end up delivering in Fold. But I mean, yeah, overall, what did you think about this chapter?
I was underwhelmed too, and I think that's perfectly natural for this kind of chapter because let's take for example chapter 117 and chapter 117. I was underwhelmed with that chapter as well because it's mostly action. It's mostly just visuals, panels. There is not much of plot going on. There's not much character interactions or development going on. There isn't much of the story. It's just more spectacle, build up to make you hyped. So I think this chapter is going to flow better when we have the future chapters, and it's going to be like, oh yeah, this is the spectacle build up, hype moments for the grand finale. And also, I was hyped, too hyped because of Titanfolk. I was a Titanfolk, and people were making posts with titles saying, "Oh my God, the chapter was amazing! Isayama did it again! Oh my God!" And they were hyping that shit so much, and I thought, "Holy shit! It's going to be some paths, fuckery, plot twist. It's going to be revealed who the father is, something like that." And then I read the chapter, and it's like, "Oh, this is what I expected." There's not much going on here. But I
Yeah.
don't blame Isayama. I just
Oh yeah, I was just basically gonna say I agree. Like I don't blame Isayama. Um, I'm not even saying it was a bad chapter. It was still a good chapter for sure. It just didn't live up to this like imaginary hype that I had inside my head. Um, and yeah, honestly, I kind of wish it did. It's gonna be nice seeing this in the anime, that's for sure. But yeah, it was just I don't know, a little underwhelming, considering the scope of the series and the weight of this climax we're about to see. It started off with Historia giving birth, right?
yeah.
That was funny. At that point, I was like, oh, we're probably gonna learn who your father is, right? Or something, right? But nope, she's just giving birth. That's pretty much it. Usually, it takes me about 30 minutes to 40 minutes to finish, my first read through a single chapter. Um, this chapter only took me 12 minutes to finish.
It took me 16, I think. Yeah, it was very fast. I didn't have much to talk about in the chapter. I was reading it with a friend of mine. We didn't have much to talk because it was more imagery, more symbolism, and stuff like that. There, yeah, it's like a transition chapter. It's not even a build up chapter. It's a transition chapter. It works best when we have the following chapter. So this chapter is probably going to be very good when we have the next one, and then we look back on this and say, "Oh, these two chapters go hand in hand." It's like chapter 120 and 121.
Hmm, I see what you mean. Yeah, like we might not able to comprehend the full weight of this chapter until, the next chapter. Um, and again, that's kind of why the anime usually does have a foothold because it's able to condense this content into better
One episode.
bite size. Yeah, yeah, like 1.5, 2 chapters into one episode is usually a nice package. Every chapter feels short, but this one especially felt really short here. Um, and I know after a story I gave, or after they showed a story of giving birth, Isayama went ahead and showed us all of the imagery of the, colossal titans around the world, um, and just basically the rumbling and how people were reacting to it from, these very like Asian countries, like I forget what's the name of Kiyomi's country. What is it?
Azumabito?
Right, right. And then we had, um,
No,
yeah,
Hizuru. It's Hizuru.
right. Thank you so much. And then after that, it looked like you had a bunch of like in this London kind of area with the black population, and you had just a bunch of other scenes that looked like could have been Merrily or just somewhere else around the world in general. Um, a lot of people were saying it was the imagery of that was like nightmare feel.
The Asian country, the imagery using that was the same of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. No, Hiroshima more. Yeah, it's more Hiroshima because I don't have the image now, but someone posted a comparison of Hiroshima being after being destroyed, and then that panel of the Asian people praying in that altar, and it's the same kind of structure and yeah.
Wow, you are a genius. These are the type of takes that is why I have you on here. That
Oh, I just saw it. It's not even me who found that comparison.
still, so that really helps. That really helps a lot here. Uh, wow, I didn't even realize that. Yeah. Where you take these really traumatic human experiences, and here's what I really love about Isayama, right? He is able to tell entire stories, right? And fit so much content just in the faces and the body language of characters and the people that he draws. Now, don't get me wrong, Isayama and his drawing is shit. It's shit at the end of the day. However, that
I
man can
disagree.
draw. He can and he can't draw at the same time. Um, in the way where it's like, okay, this man is able to convey a lot of meaning and content in what he does draw, but the actual quality and almost a sense of realism in his drawings can be a little bit lacking. What do you think about that?
First things first, just go really quick to the no mic shot. I found the image I was talking about.
The Nomi, which shot?
No mic shot. I I pinged you there.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I see it. Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, I got now talking about Isayama's drawing. I think he's the best mangaka in drawing facial expressions. He's even better than Inoue from Vagabond and Miura from Berserk. Because even if his drawing is not polished, it's not doesn't have too much detail on it. He can capture the rawness of the expressions of the characters. He has a very unique art style that suits that. I think that he knows when he has to draw really well and when he just can't draw whatever. He puts all his effort in the best panels, in the most important panels, most shocking, most impactful panels, and then the panels that there have just people talking about stuff that's not really important. Uh, the dialogue is more important than the visuals. In those kind of panels, he doesn't try too hard because he just has a month. It's not enough time, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm. I agree with a lot of what you just said there. That does bring me to one thing though. So I agree. He's incredible with faces. Um, Most of the time when it's just dialogue, it doesn't really matter too much. At the end of the day, just because it's dialogue, the words matter a lot more. But there's this one chapter, it's in chapter 105, right? And I can send it to you right now here. It's and let
Which
me
chapter?
yeah, let me know when you see it here in the chat, right? Look at Armin's and Aaron's face. This is right after Aaron basically massacred an entire town by himself. And you just look at this, and what's lovely about it that there's absolutely no dialogue. You have this intense stare between Aaron and Armin, and it's like they're having an entire conversation just in this one page based off their facial expressions here. That's the type of power that Isayama just can so easily convey without any words. That type of power is just so amazing. That's definitely what I mean by like, yeah, this man can definitely draw here. Um, and I think we got to see a lot of that in this rumbling here, where they've captured that sort of uh, really wide and full non-communicational content in these people's faces. Everybody from people who are praying to actively running to people who are being squished, uh, people who are looking death right in the eye. The imagery here was automatically in a modern classic, instant classic. Um, you you don't really see those type of things in other series or anime or manga, at least not on this level or at least this frequently as well. That's what is so, I guess, really profound and really just incredible about this series overall. And I have the next scene here where people are the cliff scene, right? The cliff scene that everyone's talking about. How do you feel about that?
Just before I answer that, you were talking about the facial expressions and the eyes. Uh, did you see this image I just sent of the colossal titan?
Oh, the one where he's looking down, yeah?
Yeah, I just love this one because just like you said, you can see everything in his eye. It's like he has no resentment, no personal anger or drive towards the people he's crushing. To him, it's like he's just looking down on them, like it's just insects. It's just he has this detachment look,
Yeah,
uh, and you can see that with any no words being needed.
I definitely agree. When I was first reading it, this one really captured my eye. I didn't know what it was about it, especially since it got a little cut off here in one of the panels. But and it was it couldn't help it being next to a really beautiful image. But even despite that, this really caught my eye. Just the detachment and like how withdrawn these titans are, these colossal titans are, and not only destroying the world, but killing literally all life on the planet, right?
Yeah,
Uh, and yeah, it's just to me even that's really special. Um, and you get to see a lot of Isayama here. He's always been a man who has been able to convey a lot in like really small details as well. And that's definitely told by this page here. If you look at how much percentage of the page this Colossal Titan's face makes up of the page, it's not a lot. It's not a lot, even though it says a lot here. And so yeah, in terms of the cliff, right? the cliff scene.
Yeah, sorry for changing.
No worries.
So regarding the cliff, you are going to say anything?
Well, I was gonna let you get the first word on it. I mean, it's up to you. I don't care either way.
I don't have many strong opinions regarding the cliff scene. However, I do have regarding the mother who throws her baby to be saved just before falling.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that is it's probably the best scene of the chapter for me, if not the one of the military guy making his speech. It's either that scene or this one, because we start the chapter with Historia giving birth to a child who I still think it's Aaron. So it's more poetic than that we cut from that, and we see now Aaron killing babies and another mother trying to save her baby at all costs, and the people are trying to save the baby too. They are trying to collectively help put aside their differences just to save that new life, and Aaron is going to stomp on that, and that's just so poetic for me. I think I really like that scene because it makes the direct parallel with the first scene of the chapter with Storia giving birth.
Yeah, that's right. That is a huge motif, even throughout the chapter. This says this new life, a sort of a new beginning. I definitely will touch upon the new beginning part in a bit here, but in terms of the baby itself, well, even the colossal titans shadowing over these ant-like people all running away, and they're literally running off cliffs, right? This imagery is so powerful. What it especially reminds, so this reminds me of the 9/11 terror attacks of 2001. How when the planes had actually struck the tower, you you did have people who were jumping off the tower to escape the burning buildings. For them is either be burnt alive or jump off these buildings. And either way was definitely certain death. Um, this it really conveys that same trauma that people felt kind of watching those events on TV. Maybe not as much because those events were really real, but I mean, even this being fiction almost sort of gets close to it. It's just really sad. You feel heartbroken for all these people. And if you get a chance to look at all their faces, people are crying. You can tell, like, they're yelling, chaos, and all of that. You see, at the very end of the day, though, in each and every single one of their eyes, you see this, like, element of human preservation that's at everyone's core, no matter who you are. You're seeing that, it's like, hey, I'm for me. At the end of the day, I need to survive. Everyone's trying to solely survive for themselves. But the thing that changes that is this baby. This one baby is essentially able to change that one really innate part of human nature. Um, and such a dire circumstance, which is again really like again he's able to do this without any dialogue whatsoever. It's just all imagery, and
He
it's
conveys the despair, and then he puts the light at the end of the tunnel. That's the baby. That makes every person there come together for a single purpose of saving that new life. Like the adults are taking responsibility, which is a theme of this manga, and what the military guy said after in the scene after that, that the adults should take responsibility.
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really powerful, especially just to see their faces again change from their own preservation prerogatives all the way until like they're stopping looking. you know they change from doing their best to survive to doing their best to ensure the survival of this baby. um I don't know. I really feel kind of weird about people really like making memes about this chapter, or at least this part of the chapter. Um, like to me, really none of these baby memes that you'd see on Titan Folk or the Discord, the Wiki Discord, and all of that. To me, they weren't really that funny, like whatsoever at all. Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, it's just really serious. And then you have all these people with their hands in the air, um, and they're all coming together for one cause. What's really amazing here is the framing, right? So Isayama still stays consistent with the baby motif, right? Well, while this baby's
Yeah.
being raised up by all these people, you have the Titans in the background, the baby centered. The very next panel, you have a baby also centered, and it transitions to um, the parents of the Merlian warriors, and one of their moms is holding a baby. I think that was a beautiful transition, seamless, really.
What's really beautiful about not the transition, I think you said everything about it, but what I really liked about the framing of that shot of the baby being rich at the center of the frame, and then the colossal titans looming above him, and then we see the baby crying, and we see every single one reaching their hands to try to protect the baby and holding. Uh, I feel like that symbolizes something much deeper. It's like the baby it's like the planet, it's like the entirety of humanity, and it's crying because of all the destruction, all the despair. So that baby right there, it's like taking I don't know how to explain it really. I just how to feel it. It's like it's the innocence of humanity crying, and Aaron, because Aaron goes to destroy everything. It's like it's a lamentation of all the situation.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we could go on all night just about this scene right here, which is again has no dialogue, only lasts a few pages, if that. But overall, it's beautiful. Honestly, I can't wait to see this get colored, and I can't wait to see it get animated. This one is going down in the books for sure. This is just so
It's one of the
beautiful.
best panels of the entire manga.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. Um, Now, when the Merlion parents first showed up, I was kind of sad to see that they had no blimps. I thought they were. Here's what I thought was going to happen. Here's where I got it wrong, right? And the last chapter, you saw them about to. They were in the train and they were making their way towards the blimps, right? I thought the next few chapters would be their journey up this mountain to the fort, but as soon as we see them again, they're already up here. There's no more blimps left. So that was an interesting turn, a little different than what I thought it was going to be at the end of the day. But again, I'm interested to see where it goes. However, the speech from this commander, that's also what everyone keeps talking about. It's really beautiful. If you want to go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, just before you were talking about their journey in the train. I think it's not there is not much time left for this. Isayama is going straight to the point. We don't have much more time for showing people slowly traversing to some place or talking before. Like this chapter already ended with the Survey Corps going to attack Eren, and I thought they would have much more conversations before reaching Eren, but no, they're there already, transforming and starting the battle. So I think Isayama is want to get straight to the point. No more talking, no more showing people traversing. I think the next time we see Annie, she's already going to be near Eren in the flying Titan Falcos thing. So yeah, regarding the general, the speech, I really loved it. I really loved it because it was not a named character. It was not an important character that was giving the speech. In any other manga, I am pretty sure the writer would have put this speech, this grandiose speech, in the hands of a more important character. But no, it's just a random general we never saw before giving this speech, being it shows me the humility of the writing, because even a no-name character can it still has that complexity. It still can understand the situation, the complexity of this war, and why this thing is happening now. So I really love that.
Oh yeah, and you bring up a really good point about this guy kind of being a no name. Characters who aren't really too relevant to the plot, in a sense where they might not have a name or they're a super side character. I think a lot of what they say, or at least the commentary they provide, is really important because it gives an opportunity for the author to really speak directly to the audience. And not only that, but also give commentary to the actual real life world. Um, I feel like this general, he's not only talking about what's going on in the current rumbling, but also like uh, really just human nature in itself. This is especially when he goes on about uh, this is the responsibility of not really only the soldiers but us adults, right? I feel like Isayama meant that to reflect in real life, where it is up to adults in real life to really break these cycles of hatred, and to really uh, pave a better path for the next generation, or else that what they bring in the world can ultimately come back and haunt them. Not only them, but the next generation that they're raising. You know, you you hear people say like, "Hey, I want to make a better world for my children and all that. Save the children." But ultimately, at the end of the day, you do see a lot of hypocrisy from those very same people who bring ugly things into the world, who bring a lot of negativity and hate into the very world that we're in at the end of the day. And seeing this reflected is, ooh, this is just giving me goosebumps because now we're talking about dialogue, really powerful dialogue, in which earlier we're just talking about powerful imagery. When you bring these two together, this really is Hajime Isayama firing on all cylinders. He's going all out here, in terms of his writing, which is again, this is what like in 10 years in the making here, if I'm not mistaken.
11.
11 years in the making. This is the culmination of that. It might not be the pure tippy top apex, the precipice of that, but like we're really getting there. We're really about to see him beginning to peak here. Um, and just when and I don't know, this all really provides, right? This you see this thing in anime, and especially Attack on Titan, where you see either these characters giving long speeches or this imagery of grandeur, epicness to really set the stakes, to really convey to the audience the weight of the situation that the characters are about to go through, right? And just the way seeing him use both of those hand in hand and ultimately complementing into each other really did set the stage for what we're about to see in future chapters and the rest of this battle. Well done to him though.
Yeah, regarding that speech, you said everything I I wanted to say. It's like, uh, actually, I have one bit to add. I think Isayama uses the no-name characters to show us how the common people think. Not only the common people of Attack on Titan, but also real life. His commentary, like you said, it doesn't reflect. It's not just about the manga. It's about human nature, and you can apply what he said to basically anything. Basically any conflict, any war in our life. Uh, So, and when he talks about this is our responsibility as adults, that's just echoing what another character said. Another character that's not important. That's Sasha's father. He said that it's the duty of us adults to take the children out of the forest, out of the circle of hatred, so that the next generation can be free of that burden. And now we have this general that's not important, just like Sasha's father, saying the same thing and saying that he wants to part ways with his monsters, with humanity's monsters, and that echoes what Niccolo said, which is that everyone has a devil, has a monster inside them, and that's why the world turned out this way, referring to the conflict and the war. So I think it's a theme, it's a motive that's reaching its climax.
Oh yeah. Overall, I'm really excited to see how all of this plays out here. Um, and I will say this. So I mean, we started saying that hey, this chapter didn't really exactly meet our expectations. I will say this: on an artistic level, in a literary, an objective literary level, this chapter might as well almost be a masterpiece, right? Now, viewing it from the frame of your average manga viewer, your average anime viewer, or your average, really just Attack on Titan fan in general, a lot of this will go right over people's heads, right? I finished this 12 minutes. You finished it around 16 minutes. I could bet most people probably finish this chapter in about 6, 8 minutes, give or take. Because again, they're not really too versed in a lot of these literary elements, not really exposed to much literature. Again, they're viewing it from the lens of an anime viewer. So I mean, a lot of this will never really see the light of the day for a lot of people. And ultimately, at the end of the day, this is what I like to bring to a lot of people in this fandom, people who love this series, to really give that perspective, right? And
Right.
but yeah, and I think next up I'm not sure exactly what we have here. We see the parents kind of flashing back to their children and the way uh, the regrets in raising their children. We see Falco's mom, Annie's,
Reiners.
yeah, oh my bad, yeah, Rhina's mom. Um, you see Annie's foster dad, I think, where they all come to the realization that they fucked up at the end of the day. They literally used their children, right? Um, and they failed. They're the ones who failed in really raising this next generation, right? And it's really kind of sad seeing them all come to this conclusion. But what I see a lot of people are saying, it's too little, too late. You know, especially with the end of the world literally right in their faces right now. Um, yeah, a lot of what I said in the last video was that I don't know why people are expecting Aaron to go down so easily, because right next we see these blimps about to rain down bombs upon the Colossal Titan, um, upon Aaron as well. And, in my head, I see these people looking at this like, okay, the discussion is always who's going to take down Aaron, right? How is he going to get taken down? But the discussion is never with is he going to be even taken down at all? I see a lot of people have that preconceived. And in the last video I mentioned, yeah, Aaron's going to have a lot of things up his sleeve. Just like season 3, part 2, the Boulders and the Beast Titan. No one could have saw that coming. And even here, we see him using almost an anti-air defensive against these bombs from the blimps. And I don't know if you want to expand on that as well.
Yeah, just before that, I just wanted to say that I really not whoa, an insect just jumped at me. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say that I almost teared up about in that scene of Reiner's mom because Reiner is my favorite character, and seeing her
Same.
finally understand that she's the one that fucked up his mind was so satisfying, but at the same time it was so sad because you can see that she wanted to do things differently now, and it's like you said, it's just too little, too late. Just like that general was saying that uh, they wanted to part ways with their monsters. You say that now, but you wouldn't have said that if Eren wasn't threatening to kill all of humanity. So it's too late. It's just too late. But at the same time, I think it's really powerful that in the previous chapter we see that Annie is remembering her past, and she's saying it's too late. We can't get back what's lost already. And she remembers Army. Army is not lost yet for her. So there are still things that you can do. It's not everything is not lost. And as Mabito lady, the Kiyomi, she said the same that she doesn't care if the ship sinks or not. If that means she will have to live with more regrets. So I think that collectively, the whole of humanity doesn't have a second chance, but individuals, people, individual people and characters, they still can change. They still can decide who they want to be, and I think that's so powerful because even if you can't change the whole world, even if humanity still considers the Eldian as devils and stuff like that, the individuals are fighting and are trying to change, are realizing that now facing their death, facing apocalypse, essentially, they are finally realizing their mistakes and are trying to change. And we can see that with Reiner's Mon, and I think that's why I almost screwed up of that scene.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, I do want to go back to what you said about Rhina here real quick. So I agree. Rhina is my favorite character in this series. I think he's the best written character in this series without a doubt. A lot of people really do underestimate his importance in the story.
They
Um,
do.
yeah, he had the best line in last chapter 133 because the title of the chapter of last chapter was called Sinners, right?
Yeah.
And when when Connie and John are telling Rhina like, "Hey man, we're just like you. We've also had to kill our comrades. This shit sucks. We feel you, bro. We're the same, right? How do you get through this?" And you see Rhina really thrusted back in this big brother role, which is ultimately it must be fucking hard for him. But what he said to them was, hey, even though we can never truly atone for our sins, even though, we might not, even though we might be beyond redemption, we still have to keep trying, right? And
Yeah.
I think that was really beautiful at the end of the day, and especially wraps up why the chapter is even called Sinners in the first place. Um, and now we're seeing his mom come to terms with how much she really kind of put her son through at the end of the day. Um, I will say this. There's like one moment in the entire series where I cried, and I think that was like Rhina's backstory, right?
Yeah.
When Armin died, I didn't really care, but when I saw
Yeah.
him die in the manga, I was like bawling my eyes out, right? So when I see Rhina's backstory get animated in the anime, oh my, it's gonna be really heavy. I can already see that.
There are some times I cried. There are I think three times. One was when Reiner was confronting no Eren was confronting Reiner. It was at chapter 100, and then Reiner started saying like it's not the environment, it's not the story. I did that because I am a piece of shit. I killed your mother, it's my fault. I can't take this anymore. I just want to vanish, kill me. That hit me so fucking hard that I remember I was really crying. The second time I think was in the Gabi and Falco in chapter 118. I think I cried, but not because of sadness, but because of happiness in that one. Because Falco was saying like, "Oh, I may very well just transform into a Titan at any moment now if Zeke screams. So I'm just going to say my last words and whatever." And then he starts saying that he cares and loves and wants to marry Gabby. And then we see that two children, two innocent children that are lost in this forest, in this conflict, trying to comfort each other. And I think that was just so powerful that I really, I cried. And the third time was when Grisha hugged Zeke and said, "I love you." And then I heard that in the Japanese he didn't say "aishiteru." He said another way of saying "I love you." That's so rare that even husbands don't tell their wives that they love them in that way. It's a powerful message that the Japanese almost never use.
Wow, I never knew that. Um, thank you for adding that. Again, I really appreciate you being here because you add so much to this podcast right here. Yeah, that's really powerful, especially what you said about Grisha and Zeke, which is like, I'm sure, Zeke probably felt some way about that his entire life after, he snitched on his parents, right? And I'm sure he always thought his father hated him, but to not see his father for all those years and for him to say those words, which is, and you just added a lot of extra context to that, right? Because it's not just a regular "I love you," but in a really special way. That really recontextualizes that scene, and adds a bunch of weight to it. Overall, I cannot wait for all this to get animated. This is one for the history books for sure. Yeah, without a doubt. But yeah, moving forward here, we got to keep moving forward until all of our enemies are destroyed.
Yeah,
Again, so the bombs are dropping, and we see it having minimal effect, really. And then we see, so this is what nobody really expected, right? Was when, Aaron had manifested the Beast Titan form on top of his body. And that was essentially throwing rocks back up, acting as anti-air, so to speak, back up at the blimps. Um, yeah, I don't think anyone really expected that. And this really draws in the question, right? Can he do this with other Titans, like the Attack Titan or the Warhammer, or, just the Beast Titan?
I think he can do that because Zeke is in the past dimension and he is probably near Eren. He's in contact with Eren, or at least in contact with his Titan body inside the Titan. So Eren can probably use Zeke, manipulate and control him and his Titan. He probably can do the same with the Warhammer because it's inside him and the Attack Titan, but he can't do that with the Colossal because it's with arming. Yeah, I mean, he can probably use the Founding Titan to control Armin's mind. But he already said that he won't take their freedom. He probably just doesn't care about Zeke's freedom.
Right. And I had someone telling me, right, who who said that Aaron's not in the driver's seat, he's not in control. That's something I really disagree with. When he went,
I too.
yeah, because he went out of his way to tell the Alliance that, hey, I'm not going to control you guys or take your memories. You guys are free at the end of the day. And that's what that at its very core is the essence of Aaron Yeager's character, which really makes me think, yeah, he's definitely in control. as much as possible. That's definitely Aaron.
His character only works because he has agency. If you want one way to just butcher this entire story is to make Ymir the final boss, the one controlling Eren, or anything like that. Eren, he has to be the one in control. He has to be the one that wants to do this, and he has to take responsibility for his actions. That's what makes his story work. That's what makes his character work. His character is on par with Reiner, in my opinion, and Zeke. They are the top three for me, top three best characters of the manga. And I think Eren's character just works because he has agency and responsibility for his actions, and it's going to be a cop out if Isayama just makes him be controlled or just ignorant about his actions in some way, in some capacity. So no, I don't believe he's being controlled or he's being ignorant about what he's doing. No, he knows very well what he's doing. He knows very well what's at risk, and he is willing to do that. He's willing to take responsibility for his sins.
Oh yeah, I 3000% agree with that. The first thing being when you bring up a good point regarding agency. I see a really big correlation between agency and in terms of likefulness in this fandom, where you have, people like Levi, right? He really stands out because, especially in the earlier seasons where it seems like everything is so hopeless, there's nothing anybody can do, it seems like you have this one person who really has agency over his fate and his situation, Levi, um, and how easily he's able to combat Titans. I think that is, again, a huge part of Aaron Yeager's current allure, right? Where he really does have so much control over not only his own fate at this point, but now everybody's fate, the entire world's fate, and the story itself as well. Um, and the second point I did want to bring up here, um, I kind of forget actually. I'm kind of drawing a brain fart here. um, I will say this is a really cool panel where, and I can actually share it with you right now in the chat, where right after Zeke throws out his first volley, and I just sent it, where he's just standing there, kind of silhouetted, right? This is,
Yeah,
I think that looks so badass to me, just seeing him like that. Um, EC, he still got it. ECM was able to draw out some really badass imagery, and this right here proves that he still has it. By nature, I feel like the Beast Titan can be kind of construed as a lame Titan, quote unquote, so to speak. Um, Not as lame as say like the Cart Titan and whatnot, but relatively speaking, him able to make such a Titan like this appear as badass as this is awesome. And again, really makes me look forward to what we're gonna see next at the end of the day. And at that point, after Zeke comes out, you really get to see um, all of these people lose hope. Everyone who's watching this fight, the parents, even some of the children, they all lost hope. Everybody's crying. Um, However, at this point, the audience, I'm sure, knows that, oh, okay, the alliance is probably going to come out of nowhere, right? They're probably about to arrive right now. But it's really sad seeing some of these parents talk about how, like, hey, even though we're probably going to die here, like right now, or at least our children are going to make it. They're alive on Paradise. And even Rana's mom says, that's enough for me, you know?
yeah. Ironically, I think that just because she said that, either Annie or Reiner is going to die. I think Reiner is probably not going to die because he wants to die, so he's not going to get what he wants. But Annie is the one character that I think has a lot of death flags, and many people are not paying attention to that.
Yeah, what type of death flags? Out of curiosity.
like she wants to save her father, and now she's returning to save Armin. That's the motivation. So that I think I understood it like that she wants to go back because she doesn't want to lose Armin too. So yeah, she wants to save all those people, and her father didn't die. I thought that maybe her father would die, but now I'm thinking more like she's going there to protect Army, and she will see that her father is alive, and she will try to protect her father as well, and she's going to end up dying in a selfless action because so far her character is defined by her selfishness. She's selfish. She's the only character that left the alliance, that chose to leave because she doesn't care really that much about the rest of humanity. She just cared about the ones close to her and her father most of all. So she left, and I thought, okay, she's going to leave, so she's probably not going to die. But then, in the last chapter, Zion made her go back. So I'm like, okay, now she's probably going to die in a selfless action. It's going to be it will be poetic for her character.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because she's a parallel. She's a parallel to Mikasa. Mikasa is another character that's selfish. So I think it's either Mikasa or Annie that is going to die. And I think Mikasa is. I think both of them are going to die, but I'm not going to I'm not going to put my hand on fire for that. I'm not going to die on that hill just yet that Mikasa is going to die, but I'm going to die on the hill that Annie is going to die.
Okay, I want to bring that up specifically up later, but you brought something up really important about selfishness. And I've noticed that in this series of Isayama, right, with every character, um, you can't have everything, right? Especially with each character having their own different level of agency, or in other words, their ability to control the things around them. You can't have everything. Initially, Annie only wanted her father, right? But now, she only wants Armin, and she's gonna find out Armin and her father are alive, which is a recipe for disaster based on this series. Because again,
Yeah.
you can't have everything, and the female Titan itself only has so much agency, um, especially when up against this godlike power, the rumbling. So it's going to be interesting to see. I really appreciate that you brought that up here about selfishness. And yeah, like this is the moment where the plane finally arrives, and I mean I agree. I thought I was expecting them to have at least one more conversation before they actually went in the battle, but no, they're just going right into it. You know?
I have something to say about that. I think maybe there is a chance, knowing Zayama, that in the next
Oh,
chapter is going to be a flashback at
yeah.
the beginning of the chapter. At the beginning of the chapter, maybe he has a flashback because maybe this is just me being wishful, but I think it would be very powerful to give a last scene for each of the characters in the alliance, one last conversation, so they don't have regrets when they die. Jan,
Yeah,
I hope so.
I could easily see, it be one of those things where Ishiyama employs non-linear storytelling. Like the next chapter might open up with like them on the plane having their last conversation. Um, I could see that happening for sure. Or, at the, in a clinch moment in the middle of the battle, right? Them getting more flashbacks of like, hey, remember this idea? Let's use that idea. Yada yada yada. But yeah, people keep bringing up that Zeke threw a bunch of rocks at the plane, and that Levi and Mikasa were the first to notice. And because they did that, that they definitely have precognition confirmed. What do you think about that? And also Aaron
Nah, it's
attempting to kill them. Go ahead.
It's just because Levi and Mikasa are Ackerman, so it has already been shown to us that they have more like an instinct. Their instinct is very good, so they act faster. They have a faster reaction time compared to the other characters. It has nothing to do with premonition or anything like that. Uh, at least I think so. I can't see what would be the point of adding that premonition so late in the story. And regarding Eren, I don't know why people are so surprised that Eren tried to kill his own friends. I thought he made very clear in the last chapter that they have the freedom to stop him, but he has his freedom as well of resisting and continue to move forward.
Right, definitely. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's really vague with the Ackerman thing. Back in season 3, episode 1, where Nifa and Levi are on the roof, and then Kenny sneaks up behind them. Before Kenny makes any noise, like Levi just tells her to duck immediately.
Yeah,
Um,
it's because he realized his plan because he was thinking about the situation being strange. The military police wouldn't be acting that way, and so he thought about Kenny and how Kenny would act in that way, how he would think, and then he realized, oh, if Kenny is doing this, then he would know that I am hiding in this place because he was the one who taught me to hide in this place when I am uh, looking for an ambush.
okay, I feel that. That's fair. That's fair. Again, I don't know why people are so surprised again with Aaron throwing these rocks. Especially with, I feel like because he's seen the future, he knows that they are going to live past this point. And because in the series you cannot change the future, I think he knows throwing these rocks, it will not kill them.
Uh, I disagree.
Really? And in what way?
I don't think he saw the future. I mean he saw, but not everything, not all details. I For now I will have confirmation is that the furthest he has seen of the future is that scenery, that site, and we have already seen what that site was. It's his child self, looking at the world being destroyed and saying freedom. That's the site that Armin told him as well in the books and everything. So that's the furthest we have confirmation of Eren seeing the future. But I'm pretty sure he saw more than that. But I don't know if he saw everything. Zeke himself told Eren in chapter 121 that he can't have seen all the details because he was shocked by knowing that he couldn't use the founder's power. That Zeke was the one in control at the beginning in the past realm, and Eren was genuinely shocked about that. So I'm pretty sure he doesn't know everything, just some parts of the future. And I think it would be very anticlimactic if Eren knew who would be dead and who would be alive at the end, because he would already know every single consequence of his actions.
I see what you mean. In a sense, the only reason I might disagree is because I think, and there's this, it's almost hard to articulate, but, back when Aaron Kruger was saying you have to protect Armin and Mikasa to Grisha, which was ultimately to Aaron, right? And
Yeah, I think so.
that makes me think that Aaron sees something a little bit further in the future regarding Armin and Mikasa. Um, I don't know if I doubt he's probably seen anything else. And again, it's probably just all bits and pieces here and there that he's connected. But I mean, I think that he has an idea of that, you know, that they shouldn't necessarily die there. I think he may have seen one or two of them a little later on in one of his future memories. Um,
I interpret that scene with more like Eren sending that message to Kruger after his rumbling is successful. and then he realizes, oh shit, I killed Army and Mikasa. I killed it. So he then tried to send a message to the past to maybe change it, but the destiny is already set in stone. So there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree there. With the next panel is, Levi spotting the Beast Titan and saying that fucking monkey. Now,
That
I think the monkey meme has been beaten to death for the last 2 years by
it
the
has.
fandom. And so now the only thing, like the two really biggest things I see people are doing are memeing the baby and memeing this scene of Levi calling, the Beast Titan that fucking monkey. To me, every time I see one of those memes, I kind of cringe, right? Like, is this really still funny to you guys after 2 years, right? Maybe even almost 3 years. To me, it started to get old around 6 months ago. Um, and you just kept seeing people post it more and more and more. And yeah, I don't know. It was still a nice scene to see. And it's really nice to see that intensity from Levi. He's been
Don't worry,
waiting.
don't worry. In the official translation, they are definitely not going to add the fucking word in there. They always censor this, so it's not going to be much memeable in the official translation. But in regards to the community, the fan base and all that, I don't get too invested in it, but the memes, like you said, I don't cringe. I'm so tired of it. I just scroll past it when I see it. I started to get tired when they started to make that meme of Zeke being against having PP. So, oh, Zeke has no PP and all that, and I just cringed at that point. But now I'm just like done with it. I can't even cringe anymore. I don't have even the energy to cringe because it doesn't make any sense. Zeke never said he was against sex or pee. He just wants to sterilize the audience, and they just understood it incorrectly and it transformed into a meme that is not funny. But okay.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better myself, man. Honestly. Um, wow, so I'm gonna send you this panel too, which is really nice, where everybody gives themselves one last look at each other, right? For me, and the moment right after this, where Armin really calls it, really solidifies Armin as the commander for me. Um, and again, I've always kind of hated Armin in a sense, but
Para. Holy shit, why?
to me, he's just always been kind of a bitch boy, you know. Um,
What?
oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Um, but here, right? He's really been winning me over ever since the port fight, ever since okay, maybe ever since he punched Aaron a little bit, but especially ever since the port fight, he's really been, uh, really kind of been changing my mind. I think this might have been the tipping point, right? This was really the tipping point. For this whole time, I was like, yeah, I don't know if Armin really has it in him to like seriously fight Aaron. And I'll go into that a little bit more because because of Armin's quote later. But yeah, if you want to have any, say anything on Armin and
I just
the
want to say
panel,
that you really want to start a fight with me because I love Army.
dude, it's tough.
I
Everyone loves him.
I mean I couldn't see what you mean. Oh, he is a beach boy, but I think he stopped being a beach boy after the first after Trust. He already got it together. You mean you get? Uh, how can I explain it? He has this uncertainty and this he's insecure about himself even to this day, especially now because he Irving was died because of him. He was basically chosen to beat a new Irving, and he couldn't beat a new Irving because he never realized that he was not supposed to be like Irving. He was supposed to be different, but he was still trying to be like Irving this whole time. So I understand I sympathize with his conflict, his internal conflict. uh, and I can see he's always trying to suck it up and green it and just take it. Uh, Move forward even if he's not certain of himself. He still tries. The only time he didn't try was at the first at Trust, and that was it. After that, he understood that this conflict is more than just him. It's bigger than him, so he can't be focused on his own problems and put that above others. The only other time he gave up, kinda, was at the Connie situation where he almost killed himself. But I understood that more like he was at a like Reiner, he was at his limit. He really was at his limit, and then Kanye kind of made him want to continue moving forward to save people, to be a good soldier, and that was probably when he realized that he can't be like Irving, and he shouldn't try to be like Irving. And that's why he's fighting Eren now. So when Hanji said he's going to be the next commander, I always believed that he could be that person because, like she said, the necessary what you need to be the commander of the survey corps is the necessary understanding and wanting for knowledge, and that's what Armin always symbolized for me and for the story. He always tried to negotiate, to understand, to talk first.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that, I mean, I do agree with. For me though, it was so I always gravitate towards characters who showcase off more competence, right? To me, Armin and way earlier Aaron always seemed to be very incompetent people, especially Armin. Though except in these last few chapters, right? And I get the whole thing of like bravery is actually being scared, but still doing the thing you're scared of anyway. Um, but to me, you just have so many other characters who literally like it's like their fear, whatever part of the brain that controls fear, just is fucking broken, right? People like Irwin Smith, Levi, current Aaron, a lot of the times Mikasa, right? I honestly think the part of the brain that controls fear has been fucking damaged in some way. I don't know if they got hit in the head as a kid, but I mean, I've always gravitated towards those people because I associate that with being a more competent person. Though with Armin, right? With Armin, you've always see him. And again, even though he might so follow through, he's always kind of scared, even sometimes hesitating and whatnot. I know for me that was always sort of a turn off because I was always of the mantra of Aaron, which is like do or die, you know. Um, but especially seeing Armin now, how far he's come, and how he's not at this point. He's not even hesitating anymore, right? He's leading people. He's become a fucking leader in his own right. Like it's nothing to him. Like it's natural. I think seeing that has been a beautiful transformation, and he has definitely been winning me over. And I think a lot of anime fans are gonna feel that exact same way when they start getting to this point. Um,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I understand what you mean. I don't I agree with you that Levi and Irving, for example, they have that part of the brain broken. But I think it makes sense because they're more like veterans. They already lost so much. They already are numb to the pain or the fear because they're already used to it so much. And Armin is more. He's like 19 years old now. Uh, sure, he has experience, but it's not on the same level of Irving or even Levi. You said Mikasa doesn't have that either, but yes, she does have when it
She
comes to
does.
Eren or her family. But when it comes to Ten, she has that. But when it comes to others or even herself, she doesn't. So yeah, I think I sympathize more with people like Armin because or even Reiner. I see a lot of parallels between Reiner and Armin because they do what they have to do, but deep down you can always see that they either don't like what they are doing or they are hurting or fearing. They are not so certain about what they're doing. You can always see they don't focus on it 100%. And I think that's more relatable. You can see that with John a bit as well. In chapter 127, he he was uncertain about the alliance. He was talking about how it's probably not going to work out, and he was even dreaming of having a life with Mikasa or someone that looked like her.
Hmm.
So I think it makes sense for the more not the veterans, but for the more juvenile characters to act like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Um, though at the end of the day, I think it comes between like, okay, characters that you can sympathize at the end of the day with versus characters who you want to become more like, who you actually admire, in a sense. Armin's definitely on the character you can sympathize with, you know. A lot of which is like Jean or Rhina versus where Erwin, Levi, for me especially Erwin though, people you kind of want to be like, people you aspire to be like. At the end of the day, it's just what what you kind of value more. A lot of that I do agree with though. You bring up some really good points here. Um, I do want to keep moving on though, unless you want to add more to it.
Sorry for changing the topic. You can keep moving.
Uh,
The next scene is the last one, right?
uh, this is the meat of the chapter, so the action meat. So, but pretty much, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so I mean, they're all getting ready to jump off. They make one last eye contact with each other. It's really intense. Um, some epic speech. Well, we finally found him. The beast titan is our target. Stop rumbling now and go. Right. Armin's giving his orders, and even here you can kind of see he's kind of scared, but at the same time, he is determined. I can send the panel to you in chat here. At the very bottom, he's kind of gritting his teeth a little bit. He's like, man, this is it right here. But he does follow through. You really, I now, and I love the next panels after this where they're all free falling. I cannot wait to see that get animated.
The
Right.
art in this chapter was really good.
Oh yeah. My favorite scenes though are like people just fucking falling out of the sky. That has always been Attack on Titan's bread and butter, though. People who are airborne, right? But especially this, just like literally falling out of the sky, is gonna be nice to see in the actual anime here. It really creates for an epic entrance at the end of the day. And I think we get like 2 transformations, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we see Reiner and Peak
Peak.
transform. The and so these two images really stand out to me here. Um, yeah, I'm gonna post it right now. You see the Merlian parents or Merlian Eldian parents. They're completely shook, right? as you see his mom finally realizes that, well, her son is alive. He might be able to save the fucking world. He might be able to
How
save our
far he
planet.
has come.
Oh yeah, despite everything that she has put him through, the he's still able to tenaciously fight back, and that really shows the resolve and resilience of someone like Rhina. That speaks volumes of his characters, by and by. And then this very last panel of him falling upon the Beast Titan while he's transforming, goosebumps, complete goosebumps, man. You can go ahead if you want to say something real quick. I don't want. I didn't want to talk too much over you in case you did want to say something.
Say about this scene, it's like it's really epic. I just really like that Reiner was the one that transformed first. He was the one that had the most resolution to transform. I really like that because Reiner and Eren are two sides of the same coin, and I always wanted more from Reiner ever since the Marley arc because his character was kind of shafted into the background a bit after the Marley arc. So now seeing him transform first and start the battle, lead the charge, even to armies, the commander, it's Reiner who is like leading the attack, starting it. I think it's very fitting for his character, and like he wants to be a hero, he wants to be the heroes. Maybe I don't know. Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, I got you. With
and
this,
and his mother being kind of proud, kind of hopeful, with light in her eyes after seeing her son. It's a powerful moment. It's badass. It's really good art, and it's emotional most of all.
oh yeah, very emotional. I hope it doesn't go overboard, which I know this isn't gonna happen. Most anime, right? You'll have someone like Reina, start to win the fight, and then he'll start losing, and then he'll realize his mom is watching, and then get some random power up, right?
Don't
That's
worry, don't
ev-
worry.
yeah, I see. I'm not even worried about it at this point. That's every other anime, and this show has made a name for itself, just being different in that regard, which is more utilitarian. It's more, uh, how do you say, nuanced and cerebral than just random power-ups from anger or emotion.
It's
Um,
more grounded in reality.
Thank you. Yes. Uh, so that's why I'm also really excited to see this fight. Um, yeah, and so I'm concerned though for the Alliance because it looks like Aaron's only defense is the Beast Titan, and okay, that's probably gonna be preoccupied by Rhino. So now I'm just like, what else does Aaron have up his sleeve? That's the scary
He is the founding titan. He can do whatever he wants at any moment.
part. That's probably true. It's really just trying to nail down exactly, okay, what is he gonna do next, or what's the thing he's gonna do next here? Is he gonna like have one of the other colossal titans join the fight? Is he gonna make more apparitions of other titan forms on his back? Because
I have this huge theory about how this will all end, this conflict, what's going to happen. Uh, so I think it's better if we just talk about the last panel, and then we can talk about the entire manga after this chapter, predictions and theories.
okay, bet. So, all right, next up, yeah, they're landing. Oh, he landed. Damn. Oh yeah, you took him down from the spike. Wow, this motherfucker
Yeah,
came down.
he's
Transformed.
no
Go ahead.
joke.
Oh yeah, the cart titan, the armor titan, those ODM gears. The people in the background are surprised to see this final resistance, and oh, they start crying. They see it like the sigh of relief. I can't wait to see the look on their faces change so quickly. It's just gonna happen. It's Isayama. They're not gonna stay this cheerful for this long. Um, But okay, and this is why again Armin is really starting to grow on me. Where the amount of shit talk this motherfucker is able to come up with, the amount of cash he starts talking. Aaron, I'll ask you one last time, the sassy motherfucker. What part of you is free? But he doesn't even stop there. What part of you is free after we rip you out from there? Dude, the balls on this motherfucker, dude. Oh my gosh. It's shit like this that really wins me over when it comes to Armin. Just the amount of shit talk he's able to come up with.
He's the only character that can get under Eren's skin because he's the only character that questions his freedom. Even now, when Eren has all the power in the world, he's destroying everything. He has seen that side. And then Armin just comes on and continues to doubt his freedom, continues to make him question if he's really being free or not.
Oh yeah, and that must really get under his skin. I agree.
Okay, I have this huge theory. I just want to ask you: have you heard about Isayama's favorite manga?
I have not actually. I kind of.
Okay,
Refresh my
so
memory.
in an interview, I think it was back in 2017, maybe, or 2015, I don't know, 16, around that. Isayama said in an interview that his favorite manga at the time was, I can't pronounce this name, I'm just going to send it in the chat. But yeah. I just sent it in the chat. It's this manga right there, which translated in English means "we did it." That's the name of the manga. We did it. So yeah, I was interested in this manga because Zaima said it's his favorite and all that. So I started reading it, and I read it from beginning to finish. And oh man, there's so much juicy stuff in this manga. You don't you don't care about spoilers, right?
No, I'm interested. I'm interested now, man. You sold me
So
on this.
so you want to read the manga?
Yeah.
Okay, just know one thing: the main character of this manga, it's a high school manga, but not the typical high school. Don't worry, it's like uh, it's a group of students that do some shit and they have to live with the guilt of that for the rest of their lives. And the main character, he just talks so much about freedom and freedom. My freedom is what's most important for me, tal. And I just can't. It's like his Aaron. His Aaron, a more cynical Aaron.
Hmm.
So yeah, I use this manga. I don't want to spoil you so much, but the ending of this manga, it really supports the Eren plus Historia equals Ymir theory that I had. And here's how this will fit with this conflict, because most people when I tell them about this the Eren and Eren is the father, they say, "Cool, but why does that matter? What's the point of this now? How is that going to affect the plot in this moment?" And here is how. So in the last volume, volume 33, I think. It ended with chapter 130, and in chapter 130 we have the Eren and the story of flashback. It's the last chapter of that volume. Uh, and in that we started proposes to Aaron, what if I get pregnant? And now in this volume, the last chapter of this volume, volume 34, we have started giving birth. So here is my prediction: in the last chapter of next volume, and I don't think the next volume is the last one of the story, it's probably the second to last. But yeah, in the chapter 138, we are probably going to see Storia finally giving birth and the confirmation of who is the father. And why is that relevant? Because here's the thing: Eren is now trying to kill his friends, but he supposedly is doing all that because of his own freedom, sure, but also because he wants to protect Paradis and he wants to protect the freedom of his friends. He's doing that for Ten as well. That's his explanation for himself. But the truth is more like Walter White from Breaking Bad. He's doing it for himself. And furthermore, eh, Aaron can just control them, but he's choosing not to control them. He's choosing not to take their freedom. So here's what I think is going to happen. The next two chapters, probably, are going to focus on the alliance. It's going to show the alliance is struggling and kind of winning against Eren, because Eren doesn't have much to do. He can't do much against them if he really doesn't want to take their freedom. He can't control their minds because it's going to go against his ideology. Uh, so Eren doesn't have much of a choice here. He can't fight him. I think at least he doesn't have much to do. He can't do much against them physically, but he can do a lot of against them if he erases their memory or he controls them with the founding titan. He doesn't want to do that. So here's how Isayama's non-linear writing will come into play at the last moment, when Armin gets Eren out of his Titan, he's going to go that far. Armin is probably going to reach Eren. He's probably going to do what he always has done. He has always perfored, slashed through Eren's Titan flesh to wake Eren up. Eren is sleeping right now, so Armin is probably going to waking up again. And when he does that, when he thinks he has won in the last second, Eren is going to have a flashback, and he's going to remember his promise to Historia. And what's his promise to Historia? Now that's how this ties with the manga that is Zayama's favorite,
Hmm.
because in that manga, the main character also just stays alive because he has a family. He made a family, and that family is the only reason he still wants to live. Because even his freedom is an empty thing for him now. Even his freedom doesn't have much of a value. It's not enough to keep him moving forward. So Eren is going to remember that he has a family, he has a child. He needs to protect, and he has to make his choice right now. If he's going to let himself be killed, and his life is going to just come to an end, or if he wants to keep moving forward because he has to protect his family and his child. So at that moment, he's going to take his friend's freedom away. He's going to control them, and he's probably going to kill most of them. I don't think Arm is going to die, but Mikasa is probably going to die. Reiner, maybe, not sure. John is definitely going to die. John is definitely going to die. So yeah, that's basically my theory. I don't want to get too much into spoiler territory because you want to read the manga, né? That I, but yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, absolutely. Damn. Um, you definitely brought up a lot of good points and a lot of thoughts regarding that. Some of it I agree, some of it I disagree with. The main thing I disagree with is sort of the chopping block here. So, and I said this in my last video, right, that Isayama is building up to something. Um, that specific thing has been foreshadowed for a while, right? Where he's deliberately not killed off a single shifter without them transferring their power, right? I don't think any of the shifters are gonna die until Annie and Falco arrive. That's for sure. That's one of those things that are for sure. Um, because again, he's kept it this way for this long, and I don't think he's actually gonna go forward with killing any of them until all 9 of them are touching. Which would again be the first time they've touched since Ymir isn't one, or Ymir Fritz, OG Ymir was alive. So,
Here, the reason why I don't think there's much relevance in Alpha and 13 is because it would be too much like a shonen trope, like Naruto. All the 9 tailed beasts come together, and then something special happens. I think Isayama won't be doing something that cliche. I think he has a reason to have Captain alive, Sun is probably going to do something, and all the Titan shifters, all the Eldians of the Alliance are going to be in the past dimension, trying to take control over Ymir. So it's probably going to be a mental battle there going on, but I don't think it's going to. I don't think anything more than that is going to happen just because the 9 of 10 are in the same place.
Okay. I don't know. I definitely think something is going to happen. Now, I don't think that'll like end the battle or anything, but I definitely think Ishiyama is building up to that for reasons unknown. If it did end the battle or something like that, that definitely would be a shonen cliche. I agree with that. But again, just him being so deliberate and keeping it this way and having all the shifters at this one point and them not coming into contact since Amir's been alive leads me to believe that that was done deliberately just for the opportunity to have that moment. I mean, and that's just why I'm saying none of the shifters will die um, until they make contact. Now, after that happens, it's open season. Anybody can die. But I'm saying until that happens, I think we can narrow down who can die and who cannot die until that moment, which just makes things a little easier.
But then I think your theory and my theory can coexist, no?
It probably can. No, I agree.
Like my theory is more like why would Eren keep moving forward if he has to kill his friends and everyone he has to protect? The reason being he has a family there, and I think this whole father subplot is relevant because if it wasn't relevant to what's going on right now, Isayama would probably not bother with that.
Oh yeah. I think Aaron's gonna win at the end of the day. Where it's gonna be bittersweet ending, right? He's gonna get his freedom. He'll have his family, but at the cost of his friends' lives. The bitters, them being dead, and the sweetness will be his family and freedom.
Yeah, I can't see here Aaron not winning, and it's because of a very simple thing. It's not narratively and emotionally satisfying for Aaron to lose. If the alliance wins, it's going to be so contrived for the world to just suddenly forgive all the audience. So it's not going to happen. The alliance is not going to win because if they win, then there's just two outcomes that can come from that. They can either forgive the audience, which makes no sense, or they can kill the audience. But that wouldn't be satisfying either. It wouldn't be really uh, yeah, it's not going to be a good ending. So the only ending that makes sense because it's satisfying for the reader is the Aaron wins.
Oh yeah. And I think that even draws back to Rhina saying like, hey, we might not be able to atone for our sins, but we still have to try, right? Even though they might not actually win the alliance, they still have to try, which I think is really the essence of this series, and the hopelessness that his characters face, and really just about every episode, but they still continue to try. They still continue to move forward at the end of the day.
Yeah, when I say that Aaron wins, most people they don't like. Most people know, but some people don't like the idea because then it makes the alliance pointless. But like I explained in my theory I made on Reddit, that huge theory, I think the alliance doesn't have to succeed to make a lasting impact. They can save the 1% of humanity that will eventually repopulate the Earth. So Eren can still kill 99.9% of humanity, and the Alliance can save just the last remnants, so they can restart a new cycle, a new world, a new life.
Oh yeah. I don't know, it's so weird though, because I feel like, again, a lot of the people who read this series, watch it, are really young, and I don't know if they can comprehend, right, any other situation. right? Besides the Alliance winning. Everyone I talked to, they all said, "Oh yeah, the Alliance is going to win." Even the narrative, right, is written in a way where it looks like the Alliance is going to win. It's a little heavy-handed, which really
It's on
makes me,
purpose.
yeah, exactly. It's so deliberate, where it's just like, yo, is Isayama really going to pull this off? I think that'll be a huge statement if he does, and in a sort of a shocking kind of way, like shock material. Not in a cheap way, but in a very, very, in a huge statement kind of way.
I think like people think that the Alliance is going to win because Attack on Titan is a shonen, so they think, oh yeah, it's a shonen, so of course genocide is not going to be the ending.
Mhm.
But really, it never mattered. Isayama never cared that the manga was a shonen to begin with, and it ending in a genocide doesn't mean that the story is saying that genocide or Eren is right in the first place. It's supposed to be a tragedy, like a Greek tragedy. You don't write a tragedy to say that the tragedy is right. You write a tragedy to say, look, this is how things can go wrong if people don't understand each other, if people don't stop trying to hate.
Hello? You said that people don't. Oh, wait, when did all these people join our chat? Hey, what's up, guys?
Oh shit!
Nora and Waving Hanji. I just noticed you guys were here. I've been
Same.
recording this. We're recording a video,
Hi.
like almost kind of done. We're just talking about the theories. You guys will be able to watch it when I upload it.
You're going to upload the whole thing?
I mean, yeah, it's just like we talked about. I'll upload the full podcast first, and then upload the highlights in waves when I finish editing it and finish editing the scenes in.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, I don't see the Alliance winning, and I don't see the ending being satisfying if the Alliance wins. So the only option left is Eren.
Yeah, and that's how you make a lasting impression, right? That's how you kind of make your series, your material really stand the test of time. You know, um, like again, if the alliance wins, again, it's really just a shonen. Um, Isayama doesn't want to do that. We've known that from the get-go ever since episode 5, I believe, right? When Aaron first got eaten. Everyone should have learned then and there that, okay, this isn't just going to be your average shonen, you know? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. Is again, I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see it get animated. Um, it's definitely going to go a lot of places where I think contemporary anime either hasn't really gone before or doesn't really go. And I really agree with you being this, or I really agree with you saying this is like going to be like a tragedy. I think it's going to be less so of a Greek tragedy and more like a Shakespearean tragedy, but
Yeah, it was just an example. It was just
okay.
to illustrate my point. But I mean, like, then I just forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, no worries. A tragedy nonetheless, though. Whenever you do remember it, just let me know. Um, yeah, I mean, but honestly, so I mean, besides the shifters, I can easily see. Um, I mean, you can talk, Nora. Like we're recording a video, uh, and whatever you say matters just as much as what we say. You know, so I mean, feel free to chime in whenever. Uh,
People are asking you on the chat if you still believe Eren is a father even after this chapter when the farmer is so praying to Historia.
yeah, I still believe it. Again,
If being
all these red herrings.
the farmer is just like so out of nowhere. He was just so out of nowhere, and there's the point in chapter 112 when Levi was talking about Historia. He says that she's due to give birth in a few months. but now she's giving birth in like a matter of weeks. Actually, in a matter of days, because it hasn't been too much time has passed between when Zeke first transformed and fought Levi, and the rumbling started.
Hmm.
So she's giving birth, and she lied about the information then because she said it's going to be in a few months, but she's now already giving birth. She could be having a premature birth, but I think that's more unlikely. It's more like she's just lied to the military police. And the military police was wrong about everything they said. They said that Yelena was the one that contacted Historia, but we saw that it was Aaron who
Aaron.
contacted Historia and told his plan to her. He told his plan to her even when he didn't need to. He didn't need to tell his plan to her. So
Yeah.
the farmer being there praying, it really is not nearly enough to prove that he's the father.
Also, at the end of the day, if he was a father, it wouldn't really add anything to the overall narrative or story, really. But the weight of Aaron being the father would add a lot to the narrative. And also,
And the
Aaron's,
themes.
yeah, themes, weight, narrative, especially his motivation. We were just talking about that earlier, how the motivation of family, right? Giving him something to live for. That's super important and would really tie everything together.
Yeah, and in Isayama's favorite manga, the main character is full of guilt. He just wants to die, basically, but he keeps living just because of his family. So, and the main character always talks about freedom and freedom. So I don't think it's a coincidence that that manga had just turned out to be Isayama's favorite.
Oh yeah, I mean we'll see, and I wonder how much he'll take from it. To be honest, I wonder.
Have you already read that book, The Eternal Guardian? I think
No,
that's
I
the
know I
name.
haven't. What
No,
did you think of it? Eternal Champion.
The Eternal Champion. Yeah, yeah, it's Eternal Champion. So I didn't read the book. I just read
The summary.
yeah, the summary basically. I'm a more in depth summary, but still just a summary. But the parallels there are just like I am pretty sure Isayama has read this book because
Hmm.
it has been published in Japanese. So like the main character is called Erekose, and he talks about killing every single one of them of the Eldrins. But then at the last day, at the last second, he defends the Eldrins and kills every single one of humanity, and goes to live inside a walled city with his wife, who is a who is from the royalty and is blonde. So it's like,
There's too many parallels for it to be just a coincidence, you know?
yeah, the names, the situation, the themes of the story are the same. The fact that the Eldrin have been pacifists because they don't want to commit the same crimes they had in the past against humanity. So they are just sitting and waiting for humanity to destroy them. It's like the Rice family, the Fritz. They vow to renounce war, but at the last second, Erekos convinces the Eldrin princess to unlock the ultimate weapon to kill all of humanity, just like the rumbling.
Oh yeah, and he does it. He follows through with it.
He follows through. He follows through. He kills everyone.
Hmm. Yeah, and people were saying that left a really bad taste in their mouth after they read, or that's what the reviews were saying anyway. It's going to be interesting to see how people react if, and fuck it, when Aaron wins, when Aaron actually completes what he's basically doing. I mean, he's already killed probably a huge chunk of humanity by now. So, like, I mean, at this point, there's like no going back. He might as well have already won, you know, with how many people he's killed at this point.
He has wiped out cultures and civilizations. So yeah, there is no going back. If he stopped now, every single Eldian is going to be killed off. It's not going to be satisfying.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's just so much, man. I can't wait to witness, not just see the ending, but fucking witness this ending. but also it's gonna be kind of sad because there's gonna be no more.
Yeah.
It's it's a tough spot to be in, especially as we're closing in on the end here. I'm really trying to make the most out of every chapter, which is really why I was a little disappointed with how short this one felt.
I think it's just the nature of the monthly releases. You wait one entire month just for an action chapter that you read really fast. It's inevitable.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I don't know. It just felt so. I don't know. It just felt especially short this time though. Um,
It's because there's a lot of double spreads.
yeah, that too. That too. Just a ton of iconic panels from the get-go. But so at this point, if we don't have too many more topics to cover, I can just stop recording here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I think it's for the best. We have been talking a lot. I don't
Okay,
have much more to say.
same.